Alrighty. Okay, let's get this thing started. Let's kick it off. Welcome everybody. Welcome back to Walks from Wall Street. First and foremost, I want to wish everybody a very happy Monday. It's the best day of the week. It's the beginning of the week, a new beginning. Ample amounts of time to achieve whatever we want to achieve for the week. So today is Monday, August 21st, 2023, 9:14 p.m. And we are starting off the live stream in Lower Manhattan. Now, this is Canal Street right here. And I'm sitting on this bench, as you can see. It's a beautiful little park here. And look at this view that we have. I mean, how could you complain about this? We're looking at the Freedom Tower, and very rightfully so. This is One World Trade Center. We are facing southbound. And as you know, Canal Street will run all the way across the entire island of Manhattan. To the right is the tunnel that'll bring you out to New Jersey. But if you continue to take Canal Street all the way down to the other side, that's actually heading east, that'll take you all the way to the Manhattan Bridge. Now, Canal Street goes directly through not only Little Italy, but it also goes through Chinatown, which I think we're probably going to explore tonight. We've been spending a lot of time in Midtown Manhattan, Billionaires Row, Central Park South, so I thought it'd be appropriate to kick things off to start the week of August 21st, exploring Chinatown and Little Italy. A few things, okay? I think we covered a lot yesterday. For those of you who don't know, maybe you're a little bit new to Walks on Wall Street, Sunday nights are always the Markets a Look Ahead stream, where we go day by day, breaking down all of the major notable events that are going to be happening throughout the economy and on Wall Street. Big earnings week, okay? Wednesday is really going to be the main day. Everybody knows, particularly Sparks Carnival in the chat, that's his company, NVIDIA, is going to be reporting on Wednesday. Now, NVIDIA is so critical and so important to the health and the integrity of the market because it is a massive mega cap tech stock, particularly in the semiconductor sector. Now, as we've been reviewing over the course of, I don't know, maybe almost 2 years now on the stream, semiconductors are going to be the lifeblood that propels the economy. So in essence, we could almost use stocks like NVIDIA, AMD, Taiwan Semiconductor as a proxy for the health of not only the US economy, but globally, right? If you think about semiconductors, they go into everything, including this smartphone that I'm live streaming on right now. Many of you are probably watching this on TVs, on iPads, laptops. Yeah, that all requires semiconductors, even refrigerators, kitchen appliances. This would have been a good segue if I would have turned and saw like a Tesla here. I would have said, oh, and EVs too, electric vehicles. A little bit of a statistic for all of you. There's about double the amount of chips, so 2 times the amount of semiconductors and chipsets in EVs than a traditional internal combustion engine vehicle. So as you can imagine, I've said this once before, I want everybody to do a little bit of homework on something called Dow theory, okay? I think it's very important for investors, you know, maybe if you're new to investing, or maybe you've been doing it a long time, maybe this is your career, do a little bit of research on Dow theory and what that actually means. Now, I've always said that I believe we could probably substitute the SOX index, okay? So ticker symbol SOXX is actually an ETF that tracks semiconductors. It is the iShares Semiconductor ETF, trades under the ticker symbol SOXX. And I've always said, without participation from semiconductors, it's very, very hard for this market to enter a new bull market. So keep your eye on semiconductors. We're gonna have a big week in earnings for NVIDIA, but I would say maybe even a little bit more important to pay attention to. And if you turn on CNBC, Bloomberg, even probably some of the main news channels such as CNN and Fox News, this week is very critical. Why? Well, I'll tell you why. Because Jackson Hole is hosting their annual central bankers meeting. And on Friday, Fed Chair Jerome Powell is actually going to be giving a speech at Jackson Hole in Wyoming. Now, is it important? Yeah, I think it's important, but we really already know what the central bank in the United States, the Federal Reserve, is going to do, because I think they've been pretty clear, right? At every single FOMC meeting, which stands for Federal Open Market Committee meeting, I think the Fed chair, which happens to be Jerome Powell, has been pretty clear. He is going to continue to tighten, bring us from a quantitative easing cycle into a quantitative tightening cycle by raising interest rates, but also letting the Fed balance sheet run off. So if you're not familiar with the Fed balance sheet, if you just go to the Federal Reserve's website, right, St. Louis Fed website, you can actually look at the balance sheet in real time. Now, the balance sheet is made up of two things, mainly mortgage-backed securities and U.S. Treasuries. And the Federal Reserve can purchase U.S. Treasuries and mortgage-backed securities as a way to print money, right? Stimulate the economy, provide liquidity. But what's happening now is we're actually shrinking the Fed balance sheet. So we're letting those maturities roll off. And up until the last Fed meeting, we've had about 10 consecutive interest rate hikes, and the current Fed funds target rate is 5.25% to 5.5%. Now, how does this translate to the housing market? If you look at the average 30-year fixed rate mortgage right now, according to bankrate.com, we're at 7.5% for a 30-year fixed. Kind of crazy if you compare to 2021, when some people were getting quoted sub 3% on a 30-year fixed. There was an article in the Wall Street Journal today that said suboptimal candidates for a mortgage, right? Lower credit scores, lower debt-to-income ratios, or higher debt-to-income ratios are actually being quoted 8% on a 30-year fixed right now. So I think that's going to be very important to keep an eye on, to keep tabs on. And I think that pretty much covers it. Markets rallied today, which was to be expected. We talked about that Sunday night or last night on the Markets to Look Ahead stream. We've had about 3 weeks of declines in the equity market. So I think to have a little bit of a relief rally is normal, but Wednesday is going to be the day that I think is going to decide the trajectory of this market, because that is when NVIDIA reports. All right, everybody, I'm going to put down my phone here. I'm going to close up my laptop, and then we are going to be doing a quick walking tour of not only Chinatown, Little Italy, but Soho. And if we're lucky, I think we'll probably be able to make it all the way down to Pace University, which is near 130 William, which I know is Hawaii's favorite condominium in the city. So let me go ahead and close up the laptop here. I'll say hello to everybody in the chat. But once again, happy Monday to everybody, and I hope your week is off to a fantastic start. Give me a minute. 1 minute. New York, New York, Canal Street, my friends. Welcome. All right, let me scroll to the top and say hello to everybody. I think we also got a super chat, so thank you for that. I see my friend Buy the Book, Zach Drew, is here. Thank you all for joining. I see Richard Vogel, D, Anthony Williams. What's up, Anthony? Big task at hand. British Gray, photos from around New York. Justin S, Crypto Meme is here. Welcome. Always a pleasure to see you. UniJ23, welcome, welcome. And then I think we have our friend Ukrainian Royals. Happy Tuesday, bro. I just joined. I can't be here long though. Are you in Tribeca? Yeah, and thank you for your very generous donation. Now we're sort of right on the corner, right on the cusp, right on the edge, if you will. We are right on Canal Street. You have gorgeous views of One World Trade Center. And I'm excited to take you all on a little bit of a walking tour through Chinatown. I think it's going to be a nice change of scenery, if you will. Hey, Fred X is here. What's up? Good to see you. Thank you for joining. CMO Solutions is all is okay in Maui. Very sad right now. Horrible what's been going on there. It's almost to the point where it's unbelievable. I just think of all the money and the power and the wealth that the United States has How is it possible we could let literally an entire city burn down? I just don't get it. Just like all the resources. I mean, even just look around New York City. We have these crazy super tall skyscrapers. We have, you know, multi-billionaires living amongst us. We have, I just don't know, man. It's just so weird, like how we could possibly even let that happen. It's horrible. My heart goes out to everybody in Hawaii for sure. If you look all the way in the distance, this is why I love starting the live streams off on Canal Street. So facing north, you have an amazing view of the Empire State Building. It is a perfectly clear view of the Empire. Then you have the Jenga building right here, which actually has almost like the famous Chicago bean. If any of you have been to Chicago, we now have our own exclusive one here in New York. A little bit smaller though than the one in Chicago. Let's wait for that guy to go. Hey, Battery Grams, what's up? Good to see you. Palos Adventures, thank you for joining us. Jeff W277, speaking of Chinatown, welcome, welcome. Hey, everything in Miami. This is good Saturday evening, or good to see you. What's up? Oh, you just left New York City yesterday. I'm assuming you're headed back to Miami. You know, I wish I could have spent some more time in Miami, Florida, but we are back in New York, no complaints. And I'll probably be back in 2 weeks. Hopefully, we will be visiting Sarasota, Florida, which is actually on the West Coast, near Siesta Key. NBA Elias is here, what's up? NBA Elias, any thoughts, any predictions for this week in terms of earnings? Right, we have Nvidia coming up, but we also have Lowe's. Right, last week we had Home Depot. This week we're going to have Lowe's, and I think some of the dollar discount stores. I think Dollar General or Dollar Tree is going to be reporting earnings as well. And then we have Jackson Hole. All the big central bankers in the United States will descend on Jackson Hole. And then on Friday, which is probably going to be televised, it's probably going to be live streamed on CNBC. We are going to have the speech from Fed Chair Jerome Powell. So we'll see. Steph UF, what's up? Good to see you, Steph. Joe Driver, GGNYC, thank you so much for joining. NBA Alliance is Tom. Palo Alto Networks had very good earnings report today. Should boast well for Nvidia later in the week. Yeah, Palo Alto Networks, in my view, my opinion, is definitely the leader in cybersecurity. It's funny, NBA Elias, to your point, I've been getting a lot of emails from viewers about tech sales specifically, because, you know, my previous career was in tech sales. And if I had to do it all over again, right, if I was just in college or fresh out of college now, I would go work for an exclusive, pure play cybersecurity SaaS company. And I would shoot for probably the top three, which is Palo Alto Networks, Zscaler, or Fortinet. I think those three are fantastic. Check this out. So we're on the corner of Canal Street here. And look at these old original buildings in New York. I love the fire escapes. It's a very urban feel. It's an awesome view. It's definitely a major contrast from Billionaires Row, Central Park South. I kind of think it's, I don't know, I guess depending on who you ask and depending on your mood for the day, more aesthetically pleasing. And then this is the Jenga building all the way down. Hey, Jay Sully says, Tom, you know how hard it is to get into them. I have 10 plus years of tech and telecom sales experience. I can't get a human to respond to my applications, and I agree. Yeah, and it's for a good reason, right? Because when you think about, and Jay Sully, thank you for that feedback. That's very true feedback, and it's also very helpful feedback as we get a little road rage action going on here in Canal Street. Now, if you think about being an account executive or enterprise account executive at these major companies like Palo Alto Networks and Zscaler, the commissions are very big, okay? Particularly in SaaS, if you're selling software as a service. Now, why would that be? Well, the margins are really high. There's really high gross margins in the software business. Now, Palo Alto Networks has a very big hardware business. You obviously know this if you have telecom experience. Many of your existing customers probably have Palo Alto routers and whatnot, cradle points and the like. But yeah, it's a very, very sought after company, very, very sought after roles, similar kind of to like the investment banking and the consulting world, which I never thought it would be like that, right? Everybody knows how difficult it is to land a job at a bulge bracket investment bank, right? In sales and trading, mergers and acquisitions, and whatnot. But over the last, I would say, 10 years, with the introduction to SaaS products, with gross margins being so high, salaries are high, and commission payouts are high, especially if you blow out your compensation plan. Look at this gorgeous fire escapes here on the border of Soho. Oh, look at that dog. Love that dog here. Hey, FredEx is loving the old buildings. I am as well. Will says, even though climate change is real, it did not meaningfully contribute to the fire. MBA Elias says, most analysts lowered their estimates for lows in the second quarter, but a better outlook for home improvement in the latter half of the year. Which makes sense, right? Because Home Depot and Lowe's performed really, really well during the pandemic into 2021 and 2022. Now, it's kind of obvious why, right? Because there was a massive explosion in home sales. People bought homes, people rented apartments, people spent more time at home. So what does that translate to? It translates to more home improvement projects. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see if this trend can continue. Now, let's talk a little bit of anecdotal data. I'll go first, and then I want to hear from all of you. I'm sure the vast majority of the people in the chat here tonight have been to Home Depot probably within the past month. Have you noticed it was like insanely busy? Now, before I left Miami, I had to stop by Home Depot again just to get some Teflon tape, because I don't know if the shower heads that I bought are just very cheap, but they leak behind the wall. So I just had to get some Teflon tape. And I was waiting in the line for 20 minutes to buy a little thing of Teflon tape. Home Depot in Miami, Florida, particularly North Miami Beach, was absolutely freaking packed. Are you guys seeing the same thing in your market? It seems like people are out spending like crazy on home improvement stuff. Hey, Spencer says, good evening all from the San Francisco Bay Area. Hey, hopefully, fingers crossed, I'll be in the San Francisco Bay Area very soon. Nina's here, says, hey, Tom and team, driving in Cali, but checking in still. Well, please drive safe. Please drive safe. Dee says, I would have gone out to the outdoor section and checked it out. All right. Will says, it's hurricane season. It is. I actually saw a tweet from the Weather Channel the other day, or I think it was actually today, showing big tropical storms off the coast. There's like 8 of them in a row. Hopefully they won't make mainland. B. Cruz says yes, yes, and yes for the crowdedness in Home Depot. Hey, Hawaii is here. What's up? NBA Elias is on the weekends. Home Depot looks like a crowded concert. At least, particularly the Home Depots in Miami. Very seldom do I go to a Home Depot in New York, but very packed. So we'll see. Hey, Vincent, this is Tom. During the week, I find Home Depot not really crowded, but the weekends are extremely crowded. That makes sense, right? People are trying to do home improvement stuff on the weekend. I'm interested to see Lowe's numbers. Very interested. This is Mercer Street, everybody. This is one of my favorite streets right off a canal, because you have these really beautiful Belgian block original roads here. which are absolutely gorgeous. A nice outdoor dining setup. Oh, you know what? All right, I'll ask. Before we head into Chinatown and before we head into Little Italy, we're in the neighborhood. I could take you guys past one of my newest listings if you want. It's right on the border of Tribeca and Soho. It's a penthouse. I could take you guys by it. It'd be a little bit of a detour. It may take us like 15 minutes to get there, but I could take you by it and show you guys if you want. Love this, Howard Street. This is a really good restaurant. I've never been here though, but it is beautiful on the inside. It's 35 Howard. It doesn't look super busy, but then again, it is a Monday. Love these arches here. It kind of reminds me, the windows here kind of reminds me of 130 William a little bit. DMs to show us. All right, we'll head over there. Unfortunately, I don't have the key to get in, but I can show you the facade and I'll show you around. It's a really, really cool building. So I'll tell you a little bit about it. It's called, well, the street address is 554 Broome Street. Okay, 554 Broome Street. And what's so unique about this building is that it was actually a horse stable for the fire department back in the day, if you could believe that. So developers bought it and they made it luxury condominiums. Now the penthouse is a duplex apartment and it has almost 1,300 square feet of exclusive outdoor space, which is crazy. I'll take you on a quick walk by it. This is an awesome shot. I've just noticed that now. If I zoom in all the way, look at that. I don't think the camera does it justice, but you can see all the way to the Chrysler building. That's the top of the Chrysler. Beautiful. Hey, Brad's brain is here. It says, hey, Tom and all. Good to see you, Brad. Thanks for joining us tonight on this very quiet, almost looks like a movie set. Very quiet night in Soho. You can literally walk directly down the middle of the street on these beautiful Belgian block apartments. I was about to say Belgian block apartments. Belgian block streets. Hey, Mario is here. Says, hey Tom, new subscribe here. Love your walks and commentary. I just want to ask if you ever stream the boroughs. That's a very good question. First and foremost, thank you so much for being here. We're glad you found the channel. Welcome to Walks from Wall Street. To be honest, very seldom. Very, very seldom do we stream the boroughs. If we do, it's going to be Brooklyn. It's just very difficult for me to get out to the boroughs because I work in Manhattan mostly. But that's something I'm going to try to implement into the live stream, is to do some more streams in the boroughs, particularly Brooklyn. But thank you for being here. Appreciate it. We'll just wait for the light here. Hey, JM2, welcome. I see our fantastic moderator, Laytha, is here. Jeff W277 says Staten Island. We may actually do Staten Island on Saturday because I was planning on taking the Staten Island Ferry on Saturday night's live stream. We haven't done the Staten Island Ferry in a very long time, and it's usually a fan favorite on the stream, particularly when we go to... Whoa, look at this. This is a beautiful setup here. Wow. This is fantastic. Look at that chandelier coming down. This restaurant has beautiful exposed brick on the wall. And I've been noticing this a lot, not only in Manhattan, but particularly in Brooklyn. Greenpoint, Brooklyn, you'll have these garage doors as the entire entrance to the restaurant, which makes it really nice for outdoor dining. So you have a beautiful outdoor dining space here. And then you also have the garage door that'll retract. So if it's cold, obviously in the winter, the door will come down. But on a beautiful summer night in New York like this, the garage door will stay open. This is a cool place. I've actually never been by it. It's called Antique Garage. Let's make a mental note of that on the stream here. Antique Garage. Maybe Sunshine After Rain will make a mental note of it. Or Hawaii will have you make a mental note. It's cool, right? I've never noticed it before. I'm sure we've probably walked past it 1,000 times, but this is the first time I've really noticed it. Hey, Atlas, what's up? This is a nice hole-in-the-wall find. It really is. I mean, we've probably done over 800 live streams, and it seems like every night we tend to find something that we've never seen before. I think that's really the beauty of New York. Oh man, this building is so cool. Now, these are literally like the original Soho style lofts. You have your massive retail space on the bottom floor, but look at these ceiling heights. I want to get some info on this building. Those are probably at least 15-foot ceiling heights. You have these beautiful floor-to-ceiling glass windows. And the retail space is kind of like an elevated duplex style retail space. Very unique. It's totally vacant though. That's cool. This facade is beautiful. It really stands out from everything else in the neighborhood. Super crisp white. That is really nice. Andy S's investment potential. Yeah, you know, even though we're starting to see some vacant retail space in Soho, it's actually doing the best out of anywhere in Manhattan in terms of retail vacancy. Soho has some of the lowest retail vacancy, which is great. All right, here we are, Broome Street, everybody. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna make a left. I'm gonna see if I can turn my brightness up, and I'll quickly take you on just a very, very brief walk past one of my newest listings. Now, I don't have the key to get in here tonight, and I do want to incorporate that on the live stream. But if you want to see a guided walking tour that I filmed, I think like a week or two ago now, if you just type !Broome, BROOME in the chat, the Nightbot will drop the link, and you can feel free to watch it later. But it's very cool. You have your own private elevator. The elevator actually takes you all the way up and opens into your foyer. It's a duplex apartment, and about 1,500, a little less than 1,500 square feet of outdoor space, right next to the Eden Fine Art Gallery right here. Hey, Max Performance, as I stayed in Brooklyn during my trip to New York, near the bridge, pretty nice place. So I'm assuming you stayed in Dumbo, right? Dumbo's a fantastic neighborhood of Brooklyn. Very expensive. Dumbo is now almost more expensive than some neighborhoods in Manhattan. And I'm talking about the prime neighborhoods in Manhattan too. Brad's brain. So duplex as in it's like a split level. So when you walk in, you have one level on the downstairs, and then you have your stairs that takes you up to the main living area. Very cool views of the One World Trade Center here. This is Wooster Street. Hey, Rob H says, hey Tom, talking sales. A buddy of mine is a salesman for Audi here in Nashville, Tennessee. He told me last week that he's been crazy busier. Whoa, really? Now that's interesting. I never would have thought that. So you're saying your buddy who works at a dealership in Nashville is busier now? Huh. Now, did anybody see the new statistic? I think it came out in Barron's, that the average car payment now in the United States is over $1,000 now. I can't even really imagine that. Some people probably pay $1,000 a month in their rent, let alone $1,000 a month for their car payment. So you know, with interest rates going up, you would think that would put a little bit of pressure to the downside on sales. Kind of strange, right? I know Brad's Brains is average. It's wild. Car payments are over $1,000. Mark's, as I read, $750. Still, that's crazy, right? Let's even say if the average car payment was $600. I think that's crazy. But then again, I don't own a vehicle, so maybe I'm not too well read up on these things, but I don't know. I mean, what are your thoughts, right? Do you think it's crazy to have a $1,000 car note? Maybe it's just me, since I'm a New Yorker and I'm not used to having very expensive car payments. Brad's Brain says it's absolutely insane. Mark says it's still a lot of money. Matt says I still drive my 2009 Infiniti. I only paid for insurance. Now that's another thing that's been going up, is insurance rates. This is the Soho cigar bar. Awesome architecture here. Love it. Hey, the gamer guy is here. Welcome. Steven says a lot of IT consultants who are incorporated LLCs are still buying expensive vehicles since they use the LLC to buy it. Yeah, that's true. That's true. But still, it's a lot in my eyes. I don't know. It just seems like things are a little bit too nuts. A little bit too nuts now. Now this is the entrance to the tunnel on 6th Avenue. This is one of my favorite shots of the World Trade Center right here. Look at that. This is on the corner of Watts and 6th. Beautiful shot. Yeah, tunnel traffic is light, DC3. Tunnel traffic is really, really light. Now, here's probably why. When is Labor Day? In 2 weeks, right? Labor Day, 2 weeks, I think. The city is probably going to be pretty dead from now until Labor Day. Particularly with this whole work remote and hybrid work environment. Almost nobody really comes into the office on Mondays. Tuesdays will probably be really busy and Thursdays will probably be really busy, but you know, factoring in as well the fact that it's going to be Labor Day soon. Usually Labor Day is the one last hoorah of summer before everybody comes back to work. So, hey, Steph UF says ours is $369. We put a large down payment. It's a hybrid, so gas mileage is great, 50 plus miles to the gallon. That's very good. Very good. All right, everybody, so here is the listing. It is 554 Broome Street. So this is sort of the way that you walk up to the apartment. We'll come out from the other side or across the street, just so you can see the facade of the building. Very unique. Again, this was a horse stable that is now converted into condos, which is very cool. You can see all the scaffolding over the front door because they're still doing a little bit of work on the facade. Look at how interesting that is. This is 554 Broome Street. And this is the top penthouse. So it's a duplex apartment, you go up, and then this is all of your private terrace up top. And every single unit, or I should say every single bedroom in the apartment has its own private outdoor space, which is wild. Let me just cross the street. So this is the view as you're walking up to your apartment. Look at these massive cast iron doors. You have your key fob to get in. I just don't have the key fob right now, but it's super solid. Really, really heavy cast iron doors. Now, as you walk in, you're gonna see tons of exposed brick here. You're gonna make a right to your elevator, and then each unit has your own key to unlock your floor. And as the elevator doors open, boom, it drops you off right in the foyer of your apartment. The place is insane. And if you want to, again, if you want to see a video tour of that I shot the other day, if you just type !Broome, B-R-O-O-M-E, once again, !Broome, B-R-O-O-M-E in the chat, you'll see a full property tour of the unit. And I think you'll like it. Give me your feedback. You could leave a comment. Because some people think it's a little bit too funky for a primary residence. Maybe like an artist would buy it as a pied-à-terre, or almost like a gallery piece, like a trophy piece. It's kind of interesting, but... All right, now let's head back and let's go to Little Italy tonight. Because I have a feeling Little Italy is probably going to be very busy. This is more quiet neighborhood, right? After 6 p.m., all the tourists really drain out. And it's actually a very quiet, calm, and really nice neighborhood too. Hey, Les is here from New Zealand. What's up, Les? Thanks for joining us tonight. All right, let's recross the street and check this view out of One World Trade Center. That's my favorite view in the city of the Trade Center from here. Hey, Justin S. says, I thought it was a beautiful place. Different than most places, but still amazing. Yeah, it's very unique down here. It's called Black Tap. Craft burgers and beers. You know, I actually noticed that now. That one of the viewers pointed it out. It's abnormally quiet tonight. And I think it'll probably pick up after Labor Day, but you're 100% correct. It is very quiet. I think as DC3 said, this street right here, right off of Thompson Street, is usually bumper to bumper gridlock traffic, because this takes you directly to the tunnel to head out to New Jersey. So hey, Cynthia says autumn in the fall, autumn in New York City is fantastic. It is. I don't want to rush the summer though. This is a cool little cafe in the neighborhood. Very cool. Okay, let's cross here. This is West Broadway. We're actually standing right outside of Serhant, which is their main headquarters. Hey, Sunshine After Rain is here. What's up? NBA Lies, as many schools have probably started the new year. Could explain why it's a quiet night. You know what's crazy, NBA Lies? When I was in Miami, apparently schools have already started. I'm not sure if we have any Florida listeners to the stream, but apparently in South Florida, school is already in session, which is just mind-boggling to me. In New York, we usually start after Labor Day. Kind of crazy. Now, did anybody read that piece? There was actually an interesting article in the Wall Street Journal, as we sort of get back on topic here. Look at that beautiful painting of Starry Night. Fantastic. But apparently, and this was total news to me, I think there's 1,200 school districts now in the United States that have shifted to a four-day school week. Has anybody else heard about that? That was complete news to me. But apparently, kids are only going to school 4 days a week now in some places. Hey, everything in Miami says Miami school started last week, but Broward schools start today. Yeah, super big change for me. We would always start after Labor Day. These are some more of those Soho style loft apartments. Love the facades on these buildings. Really beautiful. Yeah, Michael Joseph says, yeah, 4 days school, it's in the news. That's crazy to me. Now, do we think that's going to impact productivity at all? I think that would be an interesting thing to talk about. Is that going to put the United States of America at a disadvantage as we go head to head and compete with China? Now, I'll give you a little bit of a viewpoint here. I have a lot of friends from Korea, and in Korea, they tell me that you're literally in school sometimes for the full 12 hours. 12 hours a day. Yeah, that's correct. You take breaks and then you're studying till like 11 o'clock at night. I don't know what that means for competitiveness of the countries, but I don't know if it's such a good idea to put a 4-day school week. I don't know. I'm a little bit mixed on it, and here's why. I think a 4-day school week would benefit middle class and wealthy kids, because the wealthy parents have the means to get, daycare and tutors for their kids. You can't really say the same thing for poor and low income families, right? Growing up in New York, there's a very large portion here in New York State that school is almost like it doubles as a daycare. That's a very real thing. So I don't know. A lot of you here may even be teachers. Any thoughts on that? I don't know. I'm a little bit, let's just say mixed on it. Soho says 12-hour day at school is stupid. I don't think I could survive that, to be honest. DJ Review in Under 2 says the college I work at has a 4-day week for students. Wow. And you're in Georgia. Very cool. Solo Flyer says 3 days off recovery is great for work and school. Probably helps the parents too with being able to do both work and not worry about the babysitter. More quality time with the family as well. That's one way to look at it. Now, I think it comes down to maximizing productivity, right? That's actually an interesting way to look at it. Now, I'm going to ask a question, and I want everybody to be brutally honest, and I'm also going to be extremely brutally honest. But before we ask that question, this is the main drag in Soho. So when you think about Soho, in all the movies and the news and whatnot, this is the main drag right here. This is where you're gonna have all of your, Bloomingdale's, Steve Madden, Levi's, all the fashion, all of the retail shops are pretty much right here on this block, Broadway, that runs all the way down to Canal Street. Now, it's completely dead and empty right now, but let me tell you, if you come here, particularly on the corner of Broome Street, on a weekend, this place is not only bumper to bumper traffic, but bumper to bumper foot traffic too. There's so many pedestrians of people out shopping and getting things done on the weekends. Very fun neighborhood to be. Yeah, Cynthia's is a shopping mecca. Hey, Pup is here, what's up? Parts 1800s is dumbing down of America. Only reason to do this for the 4-day week. Maybe. Sunshine After Rain says maybe AI will take over teachers. Perhaps. Perhaps. Hey, Tobias says, Tom, any spots in Koreatown you recommend? I'm visiting New York City next week. Oh my God, man. Oh my gosh. I'm so excited for you. I'm so happy. You're gonna have an amazing time in New York, okay? So can you send me an email? walkswallstreet@gmail.com. I'm gonna type up a diatribe and I'm gonna hammer you with it, with amazing places to go and eat and experience in New York City's Koreatown. I'll give you a few spots here on the stream, but I can't fit them all into the 1 hour we have left here. I'm gonna give you 2 restaurant recommendations, okay? And they're actually very close to one another. But if you're coming in 2 weeks, you should probably make the reservation now. And that's not an exaggeration, you probably should. Number 1, it's on it's on East 31st Street in Madison. It's called Take 31. So write that down, Take 31. It's a phenomenal restaurant. Now, the good news is right next door to Take 31 is another Korean restaurant that's actually has the same owner. So it's the same owner, but it's called Her Name is Han. So Her, H-E-R, Name, N-A-M-E, and then Han, H-A-N. If you go to those 2 places, you're gonna enjoy yourself, okay? More than you've ever enjoyed yourself before. They're fantastic places, but they are a little pricey. That is a forewarning. It's not super expensive, but it's a little pricey. Those are probably my 2 favorite Korean restaurants in New York. Right there on 31st Street, right next to each other. Okay, so here's the question. I'm assuming everybody here is gainfully employed or is either retired or has worked in some point in their life. So with that being said, here's the question. When you're at work, how many hours are you actually doing work? Right? And be super, super honest. So do a mental audit of what you do every day. You come into the office, you sit down, how many hours, like really like core hours of deep work are you doing? Not talking with your coworkers at the water cooler, not surfing Facebook, not, scrolling through whatever website, not doing online shopping, actual work. How many hours would you say that you do? Everything in Miami says maybe 4. In parts of my life, I would say maybe even less for me sometimes, if I'm gonna be completely honest. Zach Drews is 0. Justin S is 6 hours out of 10 hours, Monday through Friday. Joel PM says 2 to 3. Andy S is 6. War Walker says 1-ish. NBA Elias is 7. Really 7 hours of like hardcore, like nose to the grindstone work. All right, I believe you. LA says 7 out of 8 hours during tax season. Ooh, yeah, I know some CPAs that can get crazy during tax season. You're right. Now, I think for me, it varies, and I'm liking a lot of the answers we're getting. I think it varies. Some days I could do like 6 hours of really, really hard, deep work. And then some days it could be like 2 hours and things are pretty quiet. So the thought process there, as we were talking about, the schools, are kids gonna fall behind? I think we could ask that same question in our schools. How many hours of solid education, right, are kids actually doing? Not goofing around with your friends, not looking at the wall, not throwing spitballs at your friends, but actually studying and deep education. I would say it's less than 1. When I was in high school, it was like 1 hour for me. I'm just gonna be honest. It was like the Wild West. And I'm sure many of you would agree. So it's tough. That's why private schools with smaller classroom sizes tend to do better in terms of test scores than, a public school with 80 kids in one class. So, all right, so we are now walking through Little Italy. We are at 167 Mulberry Street. This looks like a nice Italian restaurant with a lot of outdoor dining. It's a very, very quiet though tonight in Little Italy. Usually you have a lot of patrons outside. Kevin says I was very attentive in class. I just did not do all my homework. Yeah, I couldn't focus. I just couldn't focus. I couldn't sit still. But I don't know, it'll be interesting to see if this 4-day school week will have any impact on American competition in the global world, right? Countries like Korea, Singapore, very, very rigorous on the schooling, and education is number one. India as well, very, very rigorous and forefront on the education. So it's a competitive world out there. So I'm not sure if this is the best choice, to be honest. Hey, Mary G says my scheduled 8 a day, maybe 3 hours of actual work, and that's pushing it. Hey, Andy S says, why put all the responsibility on the worker? We should be asking if the managers are doing their jobs. Yeah, I mean, I guess the question applies to everybody, right? Now, this is Grand Street and Mulberry. So we're on the corner of Mulberry and Grand. You have Ferrara Bakery across the street, as well as the Cannoli King. And apparently it's the happy 50th anniversary of Cannoli King. So shout out to Cannoli King. Happy anniversary, my friends. Hey, Chinook Wins says, I'm proud to work 7 out of my 7 hours. Love that. Quick 12 says, Asians make the most amount of money in America right now. It's not by accident. Building a strong work ethic at a young age makes a difference. Yeah, I mean, I have a lot of my friends are from Korea, born and raised. And, you know, they tell me that growing up in high school, they would do schooling sometimes for 11 hours out of the day, like up until 11 o'clock at night. Which, when I think about my high school experience, it was, you know, show up late to homeroom, take a bunch of electives, do a bunch of woodworking and AutoCAD classes, and then go to soccer practice. So not exactly the most rigorous. So yeah, it's true. You're 100% right. Oh, look at this. This is cool. So Cannoli King actually painted their outdoor dining, made it all tricked out and all branded. I'm super excited about the San Gennaro's Feast. Anybody excited about that? Joel PM says, I would love to be busier. Most management seems reluctant to give orders in my experience. Because maybe they're just too worried about the backlash and worried about people quitting. Yeah, NBA Elias says, Tom, work like no one else today, live like no one else tomorrow. I agree with that. Now, I think I made a little bit of a mistake, though. I think it's a good conversation to have. But when I was still in college, I worked full time, and I think I may have pushed it a little bit too much. I would honestly sometimes pull 80 to 90 hour work weeks. As an account executive, just super hungry to make a ridiculous amount of money in commissions, which is great. And I, wasn't the type to go out and blow it all in the city and party, but sometimes it could be to a fault, right? And I actually wore myself out in a big way. I wasn't sleeping properly. And if you're not sleeping properly, you're gonna get really, really sick and wear your body down. And that's exactly what I did. I wore my body down, and to so bad to the point where I actually ended up in the hospital, right? And that's not a joke. So it's all fantastic to work hard and, hammer away on things, but you can take it too far, particularly if you're super young and you're hungry and you're in New York and it's a competitive environment. Your friends are account executives, your friends are investment bankers, they're killing it with massive bonuses, and you could play a comparative analysis here. So I think it's important to work your tail off and bust your ass, but you cannot, from my experience, you cannot give up sleep. It's just, you can't do it. That's the biggest mistake I've made in my life, is running off of literally 3-4 hours of sleep a night. You've got to get 8 hours, because over time it will catch up to you, at least in my experience. Any thoughts there? I don't want to put words in anybody's mouth. That's just my perspective. Everybody has different experiences. All right, now Little Italy's getting a little bit more busy. You can see more outdoor diners here, which is good. Hey, TPAC 5000 says, evening, can we take a walk by the hotels where the city is housing undocumented workers or undocumented immigrants? I don't know where that is. Actually, I do, but it's so far away and I don't have the energy to go all the way up there right now. Hey, Jimmy Anderson says sleeping is huge. It is. It's the most important, I think. That's my biggest regret in my life. Abby says it will catch up to you. I experienced the same many years ago. NBA Elias is minimum 6 hours of sleep for sure. Yeah, I mean, and I think it's good to talk about this, right? Because this channel is about talking about the financial markets, but it's also, we do have a lot of conversations about career-oriented stuff. And I think for the next generation coming up, to learn from the mistakes of others. Very young, I bought into the narrative that it was like almost like you're competing against who could sleep the least amount of hours, to think like you're some big shot and you're so cool. Like, oh, I only sleep 2 hours a night and I work so much, I'm a big shot, right? But as you get older and as you mature, you realize that that narrative and that messaging is nonsense, right? So it's an important lesson because it's very serious. Your health is very important. Your health is paramount, and you can exhaust yourself. There has been multiple stories of not only people in the investment banking, consulting, and tech world exhausting themselves, but factory workers too. I mean, think about Foxconn, which is the biggest manufacturer of Apple products. Labor conditions are horrible, right? Think about over the pandemic. Who remembers the stories, you know, even in Staten Island at some of these Amazon facilities, and some of the Amazon drivers, the delivery drivers, they couldn't even stop to take a bathroom break, right? Or they would get written up and, you know, threatened with being fired. That is all not worth it. At all, like at all, in my opinion. But yeah, everything in Miami, yeah, it's true, especially in Miami for sure. It's hilarious. Yeah, Sato says you can't be very productive when you're too tired. Yeah, it's totally diminishing returns. Total diminishing returns for sure. Hey, TMB, what's up? This is another comparative analysis. Work hard, bust your butt at 60. Was the loss of health worth it? Definitely not. I think you can optimize to be very smart. And I think that comes with maturity, right? As you mature, you start to prioritize things and delegate tasks. And you only focus on productivity. You don't focus on hours worked. You focus on how can I work the least amount of hours while maximizing and pounding in the productivity. And I think you'll excel if you do that. All right, so that was a little quick walkthrough through Little Italy. We are now gonna head towards Chinatown. We're gonna cross Canal Street here, but if you're enjoying the live stream so far tonight, feel free to leave a like on the video and click the subscribe button if you're new. We usually do these streams starting at 8:30 p.m. So if you'd love to join us again tomorrow night and in the future, feel free to just click the subscribe button. Yeah, Grant says it's easier to take time off when things go well, in my opinion. Yeah, that's why, and you know, sort of piggybacking off of that comment, because it's a very good comment as we make a right on Mott Street here. When you're really young, you have all the energy in the world. to go out, do a really good job and make money. Where a lot of people make a mistake is instead of saving that money, they fall into the temptations and they go out partying, they go out drinking, they spend it all on ridiculous bar tabs, and you know, then they look back when they're 35 and they're like, oh my God, I made all this money and I blew it all, right? Now, when you're young, compounding interest works to your favor. So if you're, you know, a relatively young person and you're doing really, really well and you could just bite the bullet today, you know, let's say you're making, you know, $125 or $150, right? Or let's say if you're a top performer in the city and you make it $250,000 at, you know, 23, 24, 25, it's very tempting to go out and blow all your money, right? Spend it buying stupid stuff. But if you literally save all of it, just give up 5 years of your life, sacrifice from when you're 21 to when to you're maybe 28, and just push all your money aside and save it, that's gonna grow into millions. If you just invest it into just a basic index fund, right? And then you could sort of take some time off and do whatever you want to do. So to piggyback off of that comment, yeah, pay the price today so you can, you know, pay any price tomorrow. I think that's a really good saying. More importantly though, 69 Mott Street. This restaurant is called 456. This is my personal favorite restaurant in all of Chinatown. This place is fantastic. Now, a close number 2 is actually right here. It's called, I think it's called Ming Wong Restaurant. This place and this place, unbelievable. So if you're visiting New York or you're thinking about moving here and you want a phenomenal place to go in Chinatown, take my word for it. Come here, 69 Mott Street, 456 restaurant. Prices are very affordable as well. We'll check out the menu since we're here. I always plug this place. What do I usually get? This is the dish I get. I usually get the spicy chicken with chili peppers, and then I get the soup dumplings. This place has the best soup dumplings, in my opinion, in Chinatown. And it's actually not too expensive. Hey, Melissa 2087, what's up? Good to see you, Melissa. Thanks for joining us. Oh, everything in Miami says you were just at Wohop. Nice. That place is good too. I think these places are a little bit better though, but Wohop is fantastic. All right, let's check out some of the prices here. Very affordable. Yeah, you can get dishes for as low as like $8 here. And the portions are really big too. The shop squads, what do you think about South Florida restaurants? You know, it's different, right? It's really, really different. But I will say this. When you live in a place like New York City, and there's such a diversity and such a breadth of food and cuisine from all over the world, whenever you really travel anywhere else, it's so tough to compare. Now, I will say, when I'm in Miami, I'm not thinking about, oh, I want to get a slice of pizza. I want to get really good Italian food. No, I want to eat Cuban food. I want to go to a Cuban restaurant. I want to, you know, eat food from Argentina. Not kind of the traditional stuff that is very famous in New York, like, for example, Italian spots or even Chinese spots. So I'd say it's a different type of cuisine in Miami. Now, if I had to choose, okay, what has better food, what has better restaurants, New York City or Miami? In New York City all day, every day. It's not even a question, in my opinion. But it's very, very hard to go up against a city like New York just because there's so much diversity in cuisine. You can't compete. It's impossible. Now, I heard Paris. One of my friends told me that the only city he's ever been to that has better cuisine than New York is Paris. Would anybody agree or disagree with that statement? Out of all the places you've been to, and I love these paper lanterns here that are strung in Chinatown. It's amazing. Kind of looks like you're on the set of a movie. It's beautiful. This is on the corner of Elizabeth Street. Really? So Lathos' Paris is absolutely stellar. New Orleans, I'm seeing. Yeah, Jafet Perez is Nvidia did well today. The whole market did well. The market caught a really big bid today, but Nvidia is up on the earnings chopping block for Wednesday, so we'll see what happens there. Paris is on my bucket list for sure. Yakos is 100% true. I've been all over the world, but no place compares with Tokyo in terms of food, not even close. Really? So Tokyo, Japan, has better food than anywhere else. Interesting. I would like to go to Tokyo as well. I think the two top places that I want to go to on my bucket list is Seoul, right, South Korea. I'm trying to think of my number two. Maybe somewhere more tropical. I'll have to rain check on that. I'll have to figure it out. I also, I want to visit Brazil, Rio de Janeiro. I think Brazil would be a great country to go to. Funny enough, we actually have a lot of viewers from Brazil. Hey, DeLargo, what's up, man? Good to see you. This is Tom, when bull market. In which market are you talking about? I know you're big into the cryptocurrency world. It's good to see you, my friend. Long time no see. Hey, Sixes Walks on Wall Street. Tom, what's your asking price for Broom? Yeah, so it's listed 5,995, so just under 6 million. And I think it'll actually probably go pretty quick. We'll see. I love walking these streets in Chinatown because it kind of feels like you're not even in the United States. It's like you're transporting into a different country. That's one of the, I would say, probably the most unique things about New York City. We're on the corner of Doyers Street. This is my favorite street though here. Really cool murals. There's another mural over here that is gorgeous. Now during the day, at night it really doesn't do it justice, but during the day all of these shops have all tables and chairs out in the middle of the street. It's beautiful. It's actually a really good boba place here too. Hey, DeLargo, what's up, man? It says, oh, you remember me. Of course, man. We're Twitter pals. Well, now actually called X pals, I guess, because Elon Musk changed the name. It's now called X. But yeah, thank you, dude, for your 20 donation. I appreciate it very, very much. Soon enough, because I would benefit from that in a big way. In a big way. So soon enough, my friend. Oh, this is unfortunate though. Right on cue, New York City puts up all of this horrible scaffolding to cover up one of the most beautiful murals in all of Lower Manhattan. Right on cue. But isn't this beautiful? Look at how detailed this is. You can still see it. I'm not going to be too negative, but obviously it would look a lot better without the scaffolding. Yeah, DC. Very famous Chinatown photographer. Now we are near the Manhattan Bridge. If we make a left, this will actually take us right to the Manhattan Bridge. You could walk over. About 2 weeks ago, I took you guys all the way down here where you have insane views of not only the Brooklyn Bridge, but the Manhattan Bridge. And you could also see One Manhattan Square. And One Manhattan Square is a new development by Extel, which is, in my opinion, the best real estate developer in New York City. They've done projects like 157, Central Park Tower, and now they have another ultra luxury condominium all the way by the Manhattan Bridge called One Manhattan Square. Really beautiful. Hey, Bill Tala's here. What's up, Bill? This is Tom. Have you ever gone to the Bruce Lee mural near Canal Street in front of the Garden Inn Hotel? You know what? I actually haven't. I've never even heard of it until now. Let me actually take a screenshot of that. So there's a Bruce Lee mural near Canal Street in front of the Garden Inn Hotel. All right, I just took a screenshot of that. Thank you for saying that. I never even knew about it until now. We'll probably have to check it out one night on the stream. Oh, speaking of One Manhattan Square, you could just see a little bit of it right now. Look at that. It's all the way in the distance there. I know everything in Miami says, have you heard about the 30-story prison that they wanted to build in Chinatown? I have heard about it. There was massive protest and backlash. You know, another thing where there's a lot of protest and backlash, we'll loop around this way and we'll head over to Fulton Street. I think we'll have enough time to go to the World Trade Center tonight. Now, right on Billionaires Row, 57th Street. Did you know that right next door to 157, they were going to build, or I think they actually already built it? I'm not too sure. When I used to live right at Central Park South, I would always get flyers to come protest the development, but it's like an all-men's homeless shelter for like addicts or something. And they were gonna build it, or Mayor Bill de Blasio at the time was gonna put it right next to 157 in this old abandoned hotel. And there was massive outcry about it. I don't know if the project ever went to completion. I'll have to do some more research into that. But I remember that caused a huge stir in the city, massive stir. Does anybody remember that? Hey, Tom AK is here. What's up? Good to see you. Dylan is off, says, hey Tom, do you have anything to say about the recessions in Europe? Well, I think that the US is much better positioned than Europe for multiple reasons. I think a lot of the, and I don't want to get like too political, but I think a lot of the nonsensical ESG policies have destroyed much of the energy infrastructure in Europe. And if you do some research into this, and I respect everybody's viewpoints, but if you do some actual research into ESG, in my view, it's just a big grift. You know, it's not about lowering emissions. It's not. There's actually more carbon being blown off in Germany than before. If you really cared about renewable energy, sustainability, you would go all in on nuclear energy and nuclear power. Now they're actually firing up coal burning power plants, which is hilarious and hysterical. I think the whole carbon credit system, for those of you who may or may not be familiar with, you know, carbon credits, I think that is a big fraud, particularly. But, you know, who am I to say? I think that if you really wanted energy independence and not have to rely on anybody else, you go all in on nuclear power because it is so eco-friendly, it's so clean, it's so safe, you know, especially third generation nuclear now. It's not the old technology that it's going to melt down and kill everybody. It's so efficient, but the government has bastardized the technology to the point where in the United States right now, and a lot of people don't know this, but in the United States right now, we actually have a shortage of nuclear engineers because we've deterred people from entering the industry, and we've sort of like stigmatized it and bastardized the industry. This is a gorgeous shot of the Freedom Tower here. So we actually have a shortage of nuclear engineers. Now, if you want a very in-demand and high-paying job, because I think the tables are going to turn, and I think nuclear is going to become very, very big and push all through the US, Europe, and Canada once people start to wake up. These are going to be very high-paying jobs, very sought after, and you'll always have job security. Now, if you don't have the money to go to college and study it yourself, you can just join the Navy. One of the most rigorous programs in the Navy is the Navy Nuke program, and they'll actually train you to run reactors on nuclear submarines and nuclear aircraft carriers, right? One of which being a CVN-70, which just happens to be the USS Carl Vinson, which is actually the same nuclear aircraft carrier that carried the body of Osama bin Laden. That was actually the aircraft carrier my dad worked on, right there, the CVN-70. Oh, this is a skateboard. But yeah, you know, there's tons of great career opportunities. I'm very optimistic on energy independence for the future. I think we've hit a little bit of a blip, but the next 10 years, I think it's only up from here. I think it's going to be fantastic. Hey, Mitty Matty is here. Let's see what you have to say. Hey, Tom, have you heard of Chicago Atlantic Real Estate Finance? They have almost 14% dividend payout. Wondering if it's a good investment. So I've not heard of it. I'm not familiar with it, but I will say this. REITs are real estate investment trusts. REITs are set up in a way where they have to pay out the vast majority of profits in the form of dividends to shareholders. But it's you have to be very careful, and you got to look at the balance sheet of the company, right? So if I were you, I would just go to sec.gov, and I would look at all of their filings, the 10Ks, the 10Qs, and I would look at the health of the balance sheet, because they could be sitting on some really bad debt. I have no idea about the company. I've never even heard of it. But what's their exposure to commercial paper? What's their exposure to commercial real estate right now? Because if they have to refinance a lot of that debt in the next 18 months, like a lot of these office buildings have to do, well, that's going to be a big problem, and there's going to be a lot of foreclosures there. So just because a particular stock or a company pays a very big dividend does not automatically mean it's a good investment. Most times it actually means the latter. It actually means it's probably an investment you should stay away from. I know it's kind of counterintuitive to think about it like that, but when you see a very big dividend yield, it could actually be a huge warning. Oh, I think these guys are having a little bit of road rage. I've been seeing a lot more road rage recently for whatever reason. I feel like people are very pent up, it seems. But yeah, I can't really advise on the company, but I would just do a lot of diligence in there. And don't only look at the dividend yield as the deciding factor to purchase the investment. Because dividends could be extremely deceiving. Think about AT&T, ticker symbol T. You know, if you go to your TradingView, your Bloomberg terminal, look at a monthly chart of AT&T. right? That was the biggest dividend aristocrat in the United States. The stock's trading at like 20, 30-year all-time lows. So don't be too gung-ho on just buying something because it has a high yield, dividend yield, if you will. Hey, Oscar Diaz, the technology behind fusion energy has evolved with the ability to contain some of that energy. Interesting. Hey Max, this economic depression will happen long before the switch to nuclear. Energy independence will come when the government has absolute control over this distribution. Interesting way to think about it. I respectfully disagree, but maybe you'll be right. Who knows? Hey, hang with Mark Mom. What's up? What's up? Good to see you. All right, hang with Mark Mom. What are your thoughts about Jackson Hole this week? We have all of the major central bankers. They're going to be descending on Wyoming at Jackson Hole at their annual meeting. And then we're going to hear from Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell on Friday. Any thoughts? Do you think we're going to get a glimpse into a potential rate cut in Q1 of 2024? I don't think so. Now, Goldman Sachs has come out and said that they're pricing in rate cuts as soon as Q1 of 2024. I don't know if I agree with that. Hey, Larry Van D, what's up? Says I learned a tough high dividend lesson with CenturyLink/Lumen down 80% and they cut the dividend to zero. Yeah, Larry Van D. Number one, that's really helpful for you to share that, right? Not a lot of people have the humility to admit they've made a big mistake in investments. But things like that really help out other people. So I have a lot of respect for that. You know, there's a lot of people, especially nowadays, who claim, oh, I never lose money in the stock market. I only make money and buy my Discord and buy my course and all this nonsense. But that's not the reality. That is what I like to call charlatans. Charlatans. So yeah, it's a lot of people fall victim to these dividend traps. And to Larry's point, the dividend is not a lock, right? If there's a really bad economic environment, you know, let's rewind all the way to the big C, the big coronavirus. In 2020, guess what happened? It was on the news every day, CNBC every day. This XYZ company suspends the dividend, suspends the dividend, suspends the dividend, cuts the dividend. So it's not a guarantee. So I think that's really good feedback. Thank you for sharing that. Tommy G, I agree with you 100%, my friend. So we are now at the Brooklyn Bridge. We are quite literally at the base of the Brooklyn Bridge. This is the walking path right here. But we're gonna cross over and head to Fulton Street. Hey, Chinook wins as the BRICS summit results will be on the Fed's minds this Jackson Hole. The Fed will respond to it, in my opinion. Maybe. Now, do we think the messaging is going to be anything different than what we've already seen? I don't think so. I think the Fed has been pretty clear. I think our good friend Jerome Powell has been very, very direct with his messaging and monetary policy. So, hey, Explode V2 says any tech networking events in New York? Tons. If you want to know about a lot of tech networking events, you got to get on Twitter. You got to make a Twitter account or now an X account. All of the best founders, tech events, startup events are hosted on Twitter, and they're all around New York City. If you want to know about some specifically, you could also send me a direct message on Twitter. I'd be more than happy to connect you with some, and maybe we'll go to one together. Who knows? Hey, Jeff W277 says, I fell for Lumen dividend trap and lost $1,500. Most probably lost way more. Yeah, this is where that guy from Staten Island started throwing the pizza pies over the fence here. Another thing about the ESG, New York City was threatening to ban coal burning, or what was it, wood burning pizza ovens, and then it upset all the Staten Island and Italians. I'm Italian myself, and they started to throw pizza boxes and pizza pies over the gate here at City Hall. Hilarious. Hey, Boomer Tuber, thank you so much for your very kind donation. I appreciate it. FredX, God bless you as always. Hey, Andy. So Andy, I'm so glad you're here because I have a question for you, because tonight, this was a good live stream tonight. We talked about a lot, but we also talked about the education system in the United States. So there's about 1,200 districts, I believe, that are starting to move to a 4-day-a-week school week. And I was telling everybody about some of my friends from Korea, and they were telling me that they, in high school, they would go to school sometimes for 10 hours, 11 hours a day. Now, Andy, was that in your experience as well? I know you're from Korea, born and raised there. Could you give us any insight into that? How the public education system is in Korea? Is it true that, you know, you sometimes spend 10 hours a day just studying and hitting the books? I think that's probably a big factor as to why Korea has seen such this massive GDP explosion over the last decade, and they've really benefited from semiconductors, right? Think about Samsung, major Korean company, huge margins, and an integral part of the global economy, making semiconductors. So, hey, Elizabeth Gill says, Tom, what's your favorite Italian food? I make great homemade manicotti. Ooh, that's a hard one. Good question, but a hard question to answer. You know, I like a really, really good classic homemade, well, no, yeah, I like a very, very classic homemade spaghetti and meatballs. Like the most classic you can get. Oh, look at this. Got some police activity. Oh my God, what the heck happened to this? I think he got stabbed. Look at him, he's bleeding. Oh my God, I hope he's all right. Holy crap, what did we just walk into? What the heck? Man, maybe he got jumped or something. What the heck? Man, I hope he's all right. I heard him saying he got jumped on the train. You gotta be careful. I think he'll be all right. He seems all right. At least he's getting the help he needs fast. The response time was lightning speed. You guys see that? It's probably the fastest response time I've seen in Manhattan. Well, never a dull moment in New York, I guess. Yeah, DC3s has always got to watch your six for sure. There's been a lot of incidents in the subways. Hey, Line Sync, what's up? Good to see you. All right, let's go to Fulton Street and we'll check out our friend Hawaii's favorite new development in all New York City. It's called 130 William. I know frame freezes, they're incredibly, yeah, I mean, that was incredibly fast response time. I didn't even see anybody coming. I saw one cop car coming and then it was like 1,000, which is good. Hey, I mean, if citizens in New York need help, they need it fast. So I'm very pleased to see that at least. All right, Joe's Pizza. Look at this. This is a picture-perfect view of One World Trade Center right at Nassau and Fulton Street. MBA Elias is how close to the hospital, literally in walking distance. There's a hospital right across the street from Pace University, so they'll probably take him there maybe. I think this is probably one of the most photographed intersections in New York. Hey, Latha, appreciate it. We'll see you tomorrow.
She's still pretty sharp, but you know, she got.
Let's check out 130 William while we're down here. But if you guys have been enjoying the live stream so far tonight, feel free to leave a like on the video and click the subscribe button if you're new. If you also want to connect with us off YouTube, feel free to click the links in the descriptions. And you could sign up for our free investing newsletter. Connect with us on Twitter. I talk with a lot of you guys there almost every day. Very quiet here on Fulton Street. It's usually kind of busy. Now, I will tell you this. It's probably going to get a lot busier in the next 2 weeks because colleges are starting. And this is a major college campus here in New York, on the campus of Pace University. Hey, from Korea, this is Blackpink. Very good musical group. K-pop musical group, very talented. Oh wow, Police says the incident occurred on the F train and the subway. They're requesting transit to respond to handle. Hey, you gotta watch it in the subways. Now, not to sort of fearmonger, the subways are generally safe, but things do happen. I mean, I've seen fights break out on the subway between people. I've also noticed that a lot of the panhandlers are getting way more aggressive. Let's just say that. Now, again, I don't usually like to be negative, but I think it's important because a lot of people watch the stream and then they move to New York, and I think they deserve to know. And also tourists. I was taking the train today, and you know, there's always homeless people asking for money on the trains, but this particular homeless guy was so aggressive, like pushing it to the limit. So just be careful about that. All right, this is 130 William. You guys have got to look this up. This is a gorgeous brand new development in Lower Manhattan. It's actually one of the best selling condominiums of 2022. It's about 90% sold. And you have gorgeous views of the One World Trade Center, the Brooklyn Bridge, and the Manhattan Bridge. If you want to see a little bit of a tour of the interior, of some of the units at 130 William. Again, if you click the links in the description, I think I've posted some videos on my IG page. Stunning views, unbelievable. I actually want to do a preview of this building again, because when I did a preview of this building, that was when we had all the Canadian wildfire smoke, so it kind of obstructed the views a little bit. So stay tuned for that. I want to be able to get back in here on maybe a little bit of a nicer day. But the architecture here is really unmatched. All right, here it is, 130 William. This is sort of like the community space. Now, this retail, I think it's actually been filled. I believe it's going to be a coffee shop, but I love all these arched windows. It's one of my favorites. Oh wow, Lisa's, it was an Uptown F train, the perp fled on the train. You gotta watch out. It's crazy. Wow, Bottomless Coffee says the subway stabbing is updated on Citizens app now. That's crazy how we just happened to walk past that live. Isn't that insane? Yeah, everything in Miami. This is my favorite building, I think. This one and Olympia Dumbo. Have you done any business in this building by chance? You can't really see it because it's, you know, obviously dark and the light is sort of reflecting, but this is an awesome new development. Now, if we continue down here, funny enough, since it is Fed week this week, we're going to hear from Fed Chair Jerome Powell. This is the Federal Reserve, or the New York Federal Reserve, all the way in the distance there. This actually is home to some of the world's, most of the world's gold is actually right here. I think, what, 10 stories underground or something crazy like that? Right here at the Federal Reserve. Is wild. Hey, Frame Free says, Tom, you really love this place? With squared windows, I love 130 William. Too bad it's all sold out pretty much. I think it'll be a complete sellout by the end of this year, in my prediction. I'm definitely very jealous of the existing sales team who landed 130 William. Also Olympia Dumbo. That's Frederick's team. All right, here we are, Platt Street. And then this is the big bad Federal Reserve. Carlos says, end the Fed. I kind of tend to agree with you, Carlos. Not gonna lie. I know, Hawaii's like, I envy anybody who gets into 130 William. It's just such a, you gotta really go in there, Hawaii. We gotta get you in there and do a tour. It's hard, it doesn't, the videos don't do it justice, I'll tell you that. The amenities are crazy. It's just so, it's such a cool place. And it smells really good in the lobby. I don't know what they do, but it smells like a 5-star hotel. It smells like you're walking into the Park Hyatt every day. It's crazy. All right, here it is. This is the big bad Federal Reserve. Let me just check my battery. This place is like a camera on every single window. And rightfully so. Most of the world's gold deposits are right here. Now, I'll end the stream with this. With all the fighting in the world, right? And all the conflict and all the back and forth with governments, then why is it that most of the world's gold deposits are held in the United States right here in Manhattan? It sort of gets me, not to be like too conspiracy, but it sort of gets me thinking like it's all a facade. Like all the infighting is just to keep the military industrial complex going, to drive economic growth. It may sound crazy, it may be a little bit conspiratorial, but I don't know, like if I was a country, I wouldn't say, Germany, here's all of my gold, I trust you with it. Like what? I don't know. Anyway, everybody, I want to wish you a phenomenal Monday night. We will be back here live tomorrow at 8:30 p.m. If you enjoyed the live stream, feel free to leave a like on the video and click the subscribe button if you're new. If you're looking to buy, sell, or rent anywhere in New York City, you can now work with us, with me, Walks from Wall Street, and the Kirsten Jordan team at Douglas Elliman. We'd be more than happy to help you out and do some interesting deals. Also on the institutional side. So if you're looking to gain exposure into large multifamily deals, or even do some interesting private equity deals, we will be able to service that as well, all of your underwriting needs. So everybody, I'll see you tomorrow. I think this was a fun stream. This was cool. It was kind of a chill night. I enjoyed it a lot. So Brad's Brain, appreciate it. Meld, thank you so much. Robert, take it easy. Hang with Mark Mom, thank you for joining. DM, appreciate you. NMB045. Justin S, Hawaii. Oscar Diaz, Joe Driver. Frame Free, Sunshine After Rain. Lee, appreciate you. Hope you're doing well in Miami. MBA Elias and A Scan. See you guys tomorrow. Always a bull market somewhere. You just need to know where to look. Good luck and good night from New York. Take care.